What's good with you, baby? Yeah, baby. Thank you, baby. What you doing, woman? Smoking weed? Oh, hey. Nice. Yeah, putting directions for get lost. Oh, Lord. Fuck. Oh, shit. I apologize for the noise. I miss Claw, boy. Oh, shit. Why is the ENFJ not on mic? FE, the ring.
What?
So why is the ENFJ not FE on mic?
Not what?
FEing the room on mic.
I'm always FEing, man. Can't turn it off.
I know. It's very hard to do that through chat. Plus,
You want me
I
to
can't
give you
see.
some FE?
Oh yeah, give me that FE hard.
Oh my god.
Give it to me nice and strong.
A strong FE.
That sweet FE.
You're making me uncomfortable a little bit. Yeah.
That's the goal. See, the goal is to make you laugh, but not be uncomfortable. So like, yeah, actually, never
You're
mind.
not actually making me uncomfortable. It's more
What's that?
like, I don't know. It's fine.
All right,
Oh, you left.
I left. Where am I?
Not you.
Oh,
The person that I don't know yet. Where are you going?
move. Get out the way.
Hello?
Hey. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, we got a
I
new
got
guy.
everything working, I think.
I'm guessing you're another INTP. I'm just gonna
Oh, what would
assume.
make you think that? Is it the state of my room? Is it...
No, I didn't even notice your room. Just like your demeanor just seems like an
Smack the shit
INTP.
out of this bitch.
Interesting.
What?
God damn, bitch.
Kato, what did you say?
Oh, now I'm driving. You know what it is.
Oh, okay. Are you Zach?
Yeah.
Cool. Are you an INTP?
Well, it's a little bit... So for me, as far as like Myers-Briggs stuff, I used to be way more into it, and I tested as INTP back then. But since then, I feel like I've gone through personality changes, but maybe that's just, developing inferior functions or whatever you would say. So,
I'm more into socionic, so I don't know.
yeah. I've kind of just used Myers-Briggs as something I keep in the back of my mind. I don't first, I don't try and map people to it one-to-one very often, I guess.
How old are you?
Like 24, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, 24.
I think. Nice.
I might have to check my ID. No.
Oh yeah, it fucks me up that the US's drinking age is 21. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Oh yeah, where do you live?
Guess.
I mean, like what country?
Yeah, Canada.
Oh, okay. What? It's just 18 there, or?
18 in some provinces and 19 in others.
Oh. Anyway, kind of the reason I came on here, and I wanted to talk about ethics with somebody. I don't know if anybody is.
Oh, you found the right guy.
Okay, well, let me frame.
Really? Kato?
Let me frame this as to what I want to discuss. So, I've met two groups of people that have discussed ethics, and they were both college clubs. The first was a philosophy club that met and talked about ethics, and about half of them, they were preparing for like a competition, and about half of them were very concerned with the morality of their ethical framework that they were arguing for, and that was a big point for many of them. But then I went to the business school, and they had an ethics club meeting, and there it was immediately obvious that, as far as they were concerned, ethics is just a code of conduct that you set up for whatever you want to achieve. Morality has absolutely nothing to do with it. Ethics is an entirely separate subject, and there was like no debate about that. It was just like a supposition as far as they were concerned. So I was wondering what you guys thought about that discrepancy and how you approach ethics codes and stuff like that.
Damn. All right. I don't want to be a cheapskate, but like I've never actually thought about it that way.
Well, it was only because saw these two groups that I even thought about it this way, you know, as kind of a...
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard. Well, you need the macro and the micro. So, I mean, you can... So, whatever they're doing on the business ethic, it is moral in a sense, but it's their subjective version of morality. So, they're saying, we're going to do what's right or wrong. It's kind of like the military. The military, I mean, I'm in the military, and we care about what's right or wrong, and what we care about is right or wrong is what's...
But what is right or wrong, though?
What's going to keep us alive and what's going to keep us going.
Right. So I might argue there that you could simultaneously hold a certain set of morals and be operating under entirely different ethics and have no issue, because the ethics navigate things like legality, the task you're trying to accomplish, the sort of, you know, the environment that you're in, whereas morality is much more subjective and personal thing for the most part.
It's the conduction of it. It's like the manifestation. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's tricky because I'm not one to ever really take a huge side on anything. So I always see both. I always see the practicality of both. So it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, you can't be completely rational because that's a very nihilistic, like mechanical Marxist view of everything. Like, oh shit, we're just gonna be as efficient as possible.
Tell me about it. You sometimes you spend enough time around physics people and other, you know, logical positivists that are set in this, you know, this idea of objective reality that they've, you know, concocted that they lose sight of, you know, other things.
Like, how do you explain music? Okay, so you can get as objective as you want. This is like, someone made this great, and that's like what really switched my view. It's like, okay, if we're gonna be completely rational, what is irrational about music? Nothing at all. But humans like it.
What?
You know?
Well,
how is it not rational?
There is, I mean,
if you look at it objectively, but like, let me finish. So if you look at it objectively, what the hell is music and why do we dance? Is there any objective, real, like, rational reason why we dance? No. But if I ask that question, you guys are all gonna look at me like I'm an idiot. Like, what do you mean? Why do you dance? Because there's some things that just have meaning that we just have that are subjective, and like
let me ask you a question to clarify something. Then, how would you define, like, what's your definition of something that's objective? What is objective?
Oh man, that's actually, I'm going through like a huge existential crisis about that. I have no idea. But I mean, I guess subjective to me is, as far as it goes, simply as meaning. Anything that goes deeper than the surface of anything that you can interpret. So if it's not clear, concrete, just a fact or an observation and reality, then it's subjective.
So let me give you I was presented with an interesting idea from a logician who told me that that think about what the object and the subject are, right? Mm-hmm. So the subject would be like the actual thing that you're discussing, but has like no name, right? So let's use like the sun as example, right? You say the sun and you like understand the concept, but the object is like this ball of plasma, right? That has all these different layers, and the object has changed over time, right? So the thing about objects is that they're invented to discuss the subject. So if you extrapolate that to objective reality, doesn't that mean, as a consequence, that objective reality is actually an invented thing that is an object that we have created in order to make sense of the subjects?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, okay, that's basically what I have been pretty much learning and researching about. So I completely agree with you. So it's like, but the difference between that, and this is where, because I was kind of like, whoa, what the fuck? Nothing's real. Everything's in these conversations. Everything's up in there. But the difference is, so it's like math. So even though you got to agree that, so math is an abstraction, because what really is 1 + 1?
Well, someone had to, initially, you go back to the very basis of, logic, right? You had to have a supposition. Something was invented. It wasn't, even the most concrete scientific theories at their inception have this act of creativity that requires, you know, it was effectively made up. It's a supposition. It's your assumption. It's
Exactly. So
yeah.
it's an abstraction, but because it does have real world principles of now, and it can be used in space, so I can say, what's 1 + 1? And like in theory, that doesn't mean anything because 1 + 1 is nowhere in time when we're speaking. But
Right.
we can bring 1 + 1 to here. We can go, it's 2. I got 1 and I got 1, and it does that. So that to me is like that bridge the gap between subjectivity and objectivity. It's like you can actually break it down into practical. You can make
Right. So I would say that the object is comprehensible, whereas the subject is by its very nature incomprehensible as its whole. Right. But we can comprehend objects, and that's why we've created an objective reality, because the reality of subjects is unknowable. Right. And you go back. If you were to look at this from like a religious context, right, that would be like people saying, "Oh, knowing the mind of God" or whatever. Not that I'm saying that, you know, that's just like an alternative way of looking at the exact same idea.
Yeah. Wow, you're the first guy I ever agree with.
Well, I mean, have people discussed this? What?
Kata's in love now. Be careful.
Oh, okay. I mean, there's a whole internet between us.
Don't get weird, Liz. Don't make this FE. Let me have some TI.
It's all about FE, though. You just don't even know. You don't even realize the dynamics between everything. It's always there, though. You can pretend it doesn't exist, but I'm just going to acknowledge it. Put your phone back on.
She thinks I'm an ESTP.
Oh, yeah?
I think there's a 40% chance I'm an ESTP. 60% chance that I'm an ENTP.
A little bit. Oh, fuck off. You're not an ENTP.
I think so, man.
I don't know. It's all way to pretend them to
FE is definitely in the third slot. TI is definitely in the second. I don't know about the other last two.
You know, it's been a while since I've looked at the actual functions. I should probably take a look.
Yeah. I don't think I'm an ESTP, man. I'm not alpha male enough, man.
Oh. Can you go suck a dick, please?
I'm serious, man.
Come back.
What do you mean suck a dick?
Can you go suck a dick and just,
Shut up, Liz. You distracted us, man. Go back to what we were saying before.
Well, I kind of left it on a point, and then you got out of your car. I don't really remember where to go from there.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, have you, do you know, where do you go to school at?
Colorado, northern Colorado.
Oh, shit, you get baked too? Just get baked?
I do, but right now I'm looking for a job, and I applied for the city government, so I should probably.
Bro, don't do that, please. Don't do that. Don't do it yourself.
No, it's just the seasonal like events, lifting and shit. Nothing like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not politics.
Alright.
Or bureaucracy.
Oh. Yeah, I mean politics is cool too, man, but just not make sure it's not bureaucracy, man.
Well, the thing with me is I can be political, but the problem is I have a hard time being political for something I don't believe in. And politicians on a regular basis have to act in such a way on certain issues that they don't have a personal vested interest in just because of the entangling alliance nature of like political discourse.
Yep. Yeah, man, I'm weird. I just like to learn shit, but I'm not really smart enough to make my own theory. But I'm not smart enough to like.
Well, I mean, I think that generally for people, it's not so much about being smart enough. It's about always like talking with other people that know, things, and then incorporating their ideas into your own framework, and then eventually, like through the synthesis of ideas, you'll generate your own, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like multiple ideas collide, and then what comes out of it is something original. So that would be like
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I try, and at my university, like I go way outside of my major, which is like chemistry. So I have, I try and like go out and talk to the philosophers and the business people and stuff, like for that very reason.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's cool, man. Wait. What's your major?
Chemistry.
Chemistry. Fuck, dude, you're smart as
I
shit.
regret it a little bit though. The chemistry culture is very much like
It's culty.
Well, only with regards to the American Chemical Association, which is like a professional society. But other than that, no, it's more like that there's just lots of people that are very task oriented and like
it's not stimulating conversation.
If I was gonna, like, this might be offensive to somebody, but if I was gonna split all the different like majors into like different types of like so-called mental disorders, right? I would put like physics as like ADHD, chemistry is like OCD, philosophy is like schizophrenia, and then I don't know. Biologists are pretty metered, but like chemists. My point, my point is like biologists are kind of down to earth, I think. But chemists are just very, they have to be, and part of it is the discipline, right? You have to be very careful, like with your measurements and everything. But they're just very like precise and
conscientious.
And like they like to follow the rules, which is in complete opposition to the Hermetic philosophy that inspired, the origins of alchemy, which I find kind of ironic, but that's the nature of chemistry now. So.
Yeah, man. I realized that like, because I like have big like fantasies and projections and everything. So I'm like, yeah, I want to learn physicist so I can be the next like Neil deGrasse Tyson. And then like, I realized the average physicist just goes to a lab. And
you work over and over again on some project. You're trying to develop something, and it's not very glamorous, right? People like Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? They're not like real scientists. They're people that carved out a niche as being someone that can communicate with the public and do outreach.
Yeah.
And the reason that they're able to be so successful is that scientists in general, most of them are really poor communicators. So anybody that has science background that can communicate well ends up, facilitating like that need, I guess, for people.
Yeah. I just want to learn something and then talk about it a lot.
Well, that's just life, right? You learn something every day, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Anyway, fuck you, Liz. I don't like it.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
What are you telling me? Why are you telling me to?
What was that? I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
Okay. Anyway. Anyone else have thoughts about ethics?
I don't know, man. What do you think is okay? So, what do you think morality? Like, what do you say is? Do you have your own universal truth about morality? What's
So the way it is for me is that from like an analysis point of view, I guess I'm like a moral relativist. But obviously, like in my own life, there's certain things where I'm like, oh shit, like that doesn't sit right with me, right? Yeah. So I think it's demonstrably true that morals are not universal. I think you just have to look at the different morals that people have around the world, especially like in isolated places, and you will see trends of similarity that seem to be a result of just like, oh, well, people living together, they tend to form these kind of morals. But it seems to me that you wouldn't be able to make a case reliably without going against, the demonstrable evidence that, morals were somehow some sort of universal truth. I just don't see how you can make that point using anything that's, that you could point to as evidence. I don't know. Do you disagree?
No, I'm sorry. I was about to echo the shit out of the room, but what was the last little part there?
We lost him.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, I agree in general. It's really...
No, he's there. It's the same guy. He's just...
Oh, this is me. I'm the same guy. I'm the same as the blankie.
Yeah, he thought you left.
Can he see me? He may not be able to see me.
Can you see Kato, Zach?
No.
Reload.
Tell him to refresh.
Should I reload?
Yeah.
Oh, now I can. Okay.
Sweet. I agree with you.
Okay.
Um,
Well, that's boring.
that is. But I can go into a cool reason why I agree with you and how I got to pretty much the same conclusion as you.
Okay.
I don't have my charger. Okay, so anyway, so shit. So basically, there's a trend across the board, and basically, it's the story. I like archetypes. I like Jung, and basically, it's the same story being played over and over. It's every archetype has a good and a bad side, and that's all humans do over and over again. So it's like all we ever want to do is basically survive and survive long enough to get to the next generation. And so morality to us is nothing more than playing the right story to achieve that. So it's like conservatives.
So pause for a second. One of your suppositions is kind of this like evolutionary basis that like survival is like the primary like shaping factor of people's behavior. Like you know what I mean? Like is that
Generational survival, not just like me.
okay? So like a whole society perhaps, or like a group even.
Yeah, but it's back and forth because it's connected. The subject and
Yeah.
So it's everything. So basically, you have a playing of. So basically, you have So the mother can be good and evil. The mother can be like the mom who is nurturer, nature, like she's the nurturer, but also the mother can be like evil in a sense, in the fact that she can almost over nurture her child into incompetence.
Okay.
It's not like you have like man child and man children and like super shy, timid kid who cannot or the super fat kid who cannot just do anything without his mom. He's completely codependent. And you also have like the archetype of the father, which is he can be a huge dick and beat the shit out of you and be a dick, or he can be kind of harsh but at the same time understanding, just so you can be competent enough so once you get out you can be competent on your own once you leave. And I mean that was just one example. Basically it's just this fine line of it's just finding the balance on where to survive. So you have like two sets of people. You have pretty much the liberals who say the best way to survive is to go out and explore and to have no borders whatsoever. So we can constantly be learning and exploring and getting to the next level. And then you have the conservatives who are in battle with liberals because if we just kept doing that, that's chaos. That's complete. There's no foundation. Eventually, you're going to end up being the ADHD retarded chimp that kills yourself and kills everybody. Then you had the conservatives. Yeah, then you had the conservatives. I'm all over the place with this, but it'll make sense at the end.
Okay, I'll bear with you.
You have like conservatives. Conservatives are like, okay, well, I like my box, and ain't nobody gonna touch my box, and nobody can get in my box or out of my box without me saying so. And there's a good reason for that, is because there's things you need to hide. That's why cities have walls, because you cannot let everyone in all the time. Boxes. There's certain types, and there's certain times in history where you have to be firm in what you believe in, and you have to be selfish and identify with your group, and identify with the now and what's familiar. There's certain times where you have to be liberal and you have to go out and explore and blah, blah, blah. And what I'm saying is that's just morality. Morality is just up in the air relative. It's just you have to find a balance of explore, try something new, ditch the old ways, and, hey, let's not be retarded in ADHD. Let's have some impulse control. And that's
See, I might make the argument that what you're talking about might have to do with ethics, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that kind of
only because it's like dealing with all these other things. It's like it's gotten more complicated, right? Because it's not just you started to involve like all these other circumstances that's typically what ethics helps you like navigate, right? Like what you were talking about was like a little bit more, I think, more than just like survival. It's like people's sense of like identity and like a lot of other stuff to unpack there. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. Basically, I mean, there's a little bit of both. It's how you navigate is going to help.
There's just this girl that's just been smiling this whole time. You have something to say? Like,
I'm a mute. So
okay.
She's been talking to me in chat. That's why. It's because she loves me. Honestly,
Carolyn, how dare you? I haven't been a flirt in a while. That was just initially.
She just flirts with me because we're in love.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Thank you every time, Liz.
No, she and I are actually making a treehouse with Neptune. And
You're not. You're not going to, Liz. You live in Canada.
Pretty
Liz,
sure
I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm talking to a smart person. I'm trying to get unstupid.
I don't think it's gonna work.
How do you know that I'm not just a scam artist? Maybe I'm an idiot.
Well, then that proves how stupid I am. I don't know, man. It's working too. I like it. You're hurting my brain a little bit.
Well, you know, I've spent a lot of time in an academic environment, much to my pleasure and dismay. So it's just a consequence of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I have. It sucks, man, because I wish I was. I really can't wait to get to college because.
Are you in high school right now, or?
No, I'm in the military. I got one more year.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But I like to talk about cool shit, but like no one here likes to talk about cool shit. So then when I try to explain it, I'm used to talking.
What do you mean no one wants to talk about cool shit? I thought the point of this thing was to talk about cool shit.
Hey, I mean.
Maybe he means IRL.
IRL.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That's kind of how I feel. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. I've gotten a little better.
Yeah, because the world is censorable.
No, censorship talk about that shit too, man. It's just
No, but it's rather the censory thing, in my opinion.
Freud was a censor, and look at him.
Wow, nice hat.
A lot of physicists are censors. Look at that.
What's up, guys?
Hey, David! What's up, baby?
Oh, not much. How you been?
Man, I haven't seen like a month and a half, boy.
So several, like many months ago, I was on like Eric's show like once, and then I kind of like dropped off because like I don't know, I kind of unsubscribed because I kept getting spammed by like all these videos from his channel, and I kind of just rediscovered it. Seems like you guys are in the middle of some kind of weird bullshit, so
that happens sometimes.
Maybe that's just the impression that he's giving. I don't know.
You're the second or third person who came today just because of what's going on.
Well, that's not the reason I'm here, but it's kind of like I just happened to see that today. I was like, oh, okay.
Wait, what bullshit's going on right now?
All right.
What's the drama right now?
Man, do we gotta talk about it again? God.
No. Sorry, I shouldn't have said anything, I guess.
No, it's okay.
I don't know
Come on,
anybody
though.
anyway, so I don't have
So
anything
I don't know
to
what's
contribute.
going on.
It would probably be negative anyway.
She would gladly tell you. She likes this stuff. She likes the drama. She smells it.
No, I prefer to talk about ethics.
She hunts it down.
Who?
I'm messing with. See, look how defensive she was about to get. Man.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, relax.
Hey,
That's
wait,
so
what
rude.
I'll do it behind your back. I'm gonna do it behind your back next time.
That hurts my feelings.
Nobody cares about your feelings.
Tip, don't do this to me. Did you get a haircut or what is
No,
what? I
wig.
can't see.
Got a hat.
It's a wig.
Oh, okay. Is that with is it like red on the top?
Yeah, what's on top of your waist?
Yeah. Red and black, and there's some blonde streaks in it.
Oh, word.
Well, it's just combed over.
Why is it that
What?
people's videos keep disappearing for me?
Koto. Are you sure of your type?
I'm not actually.
What type have you ended with?
I'm sticking with ENTP, but
He's an ENTP. He's not. He doesn't need to worry about it. He's
I could-
definitely.
I could be. ESTP is the only other logical one.
I'm so logical, it's not even funny.
What? There is no logic or illogical.
Okay. Are you gonna do this with me, Ash? Okay. I'll completely subjective then. I feel like I'm an ENTP just cause I think so. But I may be an ESTP, maybe. I don't know. No one will ever know because it's all subjective. But I feel. Okay.
Well, that's what an ENTP would say. So.
Have feeling.
Based on your word choice, I would assume that you're a feeler because you said I feel.
Yeah.
And I think I would never say that. I think you're.
No.
I don't know if they would never say that.
No, that's just the representation of dominant intuition.
Guys, I'm just kidding. Okay, calm down.
You're not kidding, she.
You're not kidding. You cannot get away from this.
I
I'm sorry.
swear I am. That was sarcasm. Oh my gosh, my basil plant is dying. I'm sorry.
How do you know this is not double sarcasm?
Oh, double sarcasm.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Sarcasm inception.
Dude. I liked Inceptions, and then they fuck up my mind, and I don't like them anymore.
Sarcasm within a sarcasm.
So, damn it. I don't want to hear my voice. It's not quite. Never mind. Goto,
Sure.
what enneagram are you?
I think 784 or 783.
Yeah, 7 makes sense. You're an ENTP. Welcome to the club.
All right. Anyway, let's talk about.
Tiffany.
What's up?
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind. Let's not talk about ethics.
No. Continue.
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like, I kind of said something about it, and you're like, "Oh, I agree." So there's not much to talk about.
You just.
I was kind of hoping, like, because the thing that I'm, a little bit that I feel is like kind of strange about it is that even if you think that ethics and morals are like separate or whatever, there's a great majority of people that consider them like almost like one and the same subject, like that, So it's almost like you have to act under the assumption that they are,
like that,
even though you have this like ideological like understanding that they might not be. But if other people don't agree with you, then it's like it doesn't.
But they are sort of compatible individual things.
Yeah.
It's all too subjective. You cannot just say, I'm doing it morally.
Right. Well, ethics is something that you could say like, well, we created. It's almost like you can reference back. It's like, well, we're adhering to our ethics. But when you're like,
wait, are you talking about MBTI or philosophy or in general?
In general, I guess.
Alright, cool.
Because like I feel like the moment you write down your morals and then enforce them, it becomes ethics. That's what I'm starting to think. That like the moment you have like an enforceable code.
Ethics are kind of rules to.
Right. They're just
Morality is just a way of keeping every element within society prosperous to the society.
You mean
where
ethics?
Society is a group of those elements.
Do you mean ethics?
By elements, I mean people, of course.
Sorry. So did you mean morality or ethics when you were talking?
Morality.
Okay. So you think morality is the way? So then, what does that make ethics, in your view?
Ethics are morality are a sort of. I hear an echo. Sorry. Morality are a sort of the basic idea, and ethics are a sort of attempt of enforcement, right?
In some sense, I guess. But I've also seen how ethics has been used to be like, well, we need to avoid this legal area or something like that, and it doesn't have an origin in morality whatsoever. In some cases.
Because there is a basic, I'd say, pre-programmed, evolutionary, intuitive kind of moral, or like any code, right? Right. So and that is moralism, right? And ethics are attempts to establish that. For example, if you count things or look at things and you say many, that's on the level of the moralism. You see a lot of things, so you say many intuitively. But if you say 50, that is established. That is like the intuition established in a more concrete way that you can write down.
So, from your perspective, then ethics is kind of like a crystallization of moral, which like the moral liquid in a way. Like you're
yeah. Each time you attempt to crystallize something, it's never perfect, and that's why there are so many laws, because we are trying to capture our intuitive kind of pre-programmed thing. And that's quite hard it's quite hard to capture it,
right?
In a way.
That's correct. Because then you also have the issue of multiple people in your society multiple groups within your society, holding different kind of like morals, I guess, and then you have to navigate all of them if you're going to create a code that applies to everyone, too. So there's that aspect of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you look into the Bible, I don't know if there's God or not, but I know that the Bible was most likely created it was a rather successful attempt to capture moralism into ethics.
Yeah, I would agree.
So like ethics is something that is established and crystallized, as you've said. But there is this one problem, and that is that you can never perfectly crystallize an intuitive thought.
Right.
You kind of know what you're working with, right?
What you're talking about right there actually reminds me of there's this fundamental measurement problem, like in science, right? It's kind of
and that's identical, because science is just the study of reality.
It's and for anyone that's listening that doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's the act of interacting with something always disrupts the system. So whether it's like even on a regular human scale, right? Let's say you're in a classroom and someone wants to study the class. They set up a classroom and they have all these things set up so they can properly study the course. The act of them doing that changes the natural environment of the classroom, and it affects the study. Likewise, you go down to like a quantum scale, right? You have to to look at things, you have to hold them, and you have to apply some field or something. That field affects everything, and it forms something. And so you can never see the true natural state of anything, no matter what it is on any scale, because the very act of interacting with it to observe it changes the system itself. And so I see a parallel there, exactly what you're talking about with morals into ethics. So when you look at ethics, you're always looking at this. So would you make the argument that morals are unknowable? Would you make that argument?
They're subconscious. That's the difference.
Okay.
I do believe that animals are like a little bit upgraded animals, and animals do things intuitively based on what worked before. So there's like this captured idea within the mind or thought by others, right? And then you have like the extra tool to elaborate on it. So intuitively, in my opinion, intuitively just means that it's subconscious, and subconscious means that there's like a huge framework of things that are working around but are not aware or sure, and it's kind of pre-programmed by evolution at the same time. So you have like this, in a sense, God, right? But that God is just your subconscious. I do believe that the subconscious is way, way, way more smarter than your conscious mind.
See, now
for every person.
Now this chat room is slowly. I didn't realize there was so many people that talked like occultists in here. There's if you don't know what I mean, so occultism deals very much with this idea, right? It's the idea that the subconscious has so much information, and it's almost like infinite, right? But it's in the realm of like subjects, to go back to what we were talking about earlier. And in order to make sense of anything, frontal lobe kind of activity, things have to kind of crystallize and become something that's like concrete, but you lose some of the information. Right?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, and so
when
like
when you try to make something concrete that is subconscious, you lose a part of it.
So like kind of what we're this is almost like a psychological model of like occultism, kind of. It's like talking about how the subconscious is kind of like your real sense of where truth comes from, and the conscious mind is oftentimes not an accurate depiction, but only thing you really have to work off of, in your conscious mind.
Do you agree with that?
I don't know.
Personally?
I don't know. I'm on the fence about it, because I used to be a bit of a logical positivist, but I've started.
What is that? Sorry.
So a logical positivist is someone that believes that well, let's see, how do I phrase this? You can probably wiki it, but essentially it's just believing in an objective, like the empirical
it's
collection.
Overanalyzing everything.
It's
basically
the empirical collection of information, like through the scientific method, is the only valid version of truth.
Yeah, it's overanalyzing everything.
And so that is in direct conflict with the idea that you're saying, which is that the subconscious, that the subconscious has the sense of truth, and that our objective reality is like actually flawed, which is more of an occultist point of view, right? And so a logical positivist is someone like, Neil deGrasse Tyson, or somebody like, who's that atheist guy?
Sam Harris.
I don't know who that is. There's this atheist guy. What's his name? He was like, he always comes on and like.
It's probably Dawkins, man.
Yeah, Richard Dawkins. He's like quintessential, logical positivist.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Nice. That was hot. Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle, man. I don't know, man. But I used to be a logical.
Why don't you over here?
Oh, hey, Tyler.
Hey.
What up?
Tay Tay. What's up, baby Tay Tay?
What's up?
You feeling better, Tay Tay, baby?
I'm stuck on the top.
Let's see your missing tooth.
Oh, what's up, little Tay Tay?
Oh, someone asked, how do we know truth? Well, I if you take the view that all these truths are kind of like, you have to accept the view. The way I'm leaning right now is that you have to accept the view that there are a plurality of truths, and then you can never truly encompass all of those truths at once. So you can only, focus on these like objects rather than the subjects, kind of, to relate to what we were talking about earlier. So the only way you know truth is by looking at projections of the plurality of truths, just sections of it, and that's our subjective truths. And that's really, it seems to me that there's no way of getting away from that. And when people talk about facts, facts, those are, facts are only true within certain suppositions and frameworks that people have agreed
Facts
upon.
Change all the time.
Right.
No.
But in the moment, there are facts that are not up for debate.
Sometimes.
And so that's why I found it so amusing in recently the discussion about fake news and alternative facts and all this stuff. From this point of view, it's kind of like, well, duh, like, of course everyone has alternate interpretations of this. But I don't know. It sounded like there was some disagreement. Who was that?
I'd rather believe that there is no objective concrete truth. Rather, there is this accuracy scale, right?
Yeah.
So you say something that's considered wrong, but in reality it's just 1% accurate, and something that is considered right is about, 70% accurate. Sure. Just take the sweet spot when it's not too hard to get another % of accuracy and it's actually usable, and when something screws up and it's not the truth, 30% of the time, you hire somebody who understands why it is not true. That's why physics, chemistry, and everything else is separated. You just hire the other person because all the knowledge there is cannot be within one mind.
Yeah, so you're touching upon a couple things there. One of them, it sounds like, is this idea of consensus. So, if you have a bunch of people that all agree that something is true, like you say, like percentage-wise, right? That like makes something more true. But then also, like, I see this all the time, right? Because I've done research in the physics department, and I'm a chemistry major, and basically, like, the chemists and the physicists deal in entirely different realms with different bases, and they have, they hold sometimes fundamentally different truths that are incompatible, right? Like, chemists do a lot of things that a physicist would be like, how are you doing that? That's not valid. It violates quantum mechanics, etc. But the chemists are still successful. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I think it's because it works most of the time.
Yeah, it's like if you had, but we're also talking about something like, we're talking about like objective reality is kind of like a scientific model.
Can I have Copenhagen?
Just by example, to give you, when you're, for example, a farmer, you don't care about a few centimeters when you're having a farm. When you're a physicist, you don't care about a few nanometers, and etc. And that kind of applies to truth too. You don't care if it's exactly 6 centimeters, right? You just want it to be about 6 centimeters. That's what a lot of lazy mathematicians do. They round things up to make
anyone
things
who's
easier.
trying to create an object of something that's actually a subject, to continue using the same language, you have to make, you have to decide where you would like to truncate your level of detail, because it's obvious just by going out in the world that you keep adding more and more detail and make the thing more and more complicated forever, and you'll never run out of complications, for you to add on. So of course you have to truncate it somewhere, and different disciplines truncate it in different places.
Yeah, but the thing is that most people consider facts to be 100% true. But
Right.
In actuality, the most true facts are about, by guess, 99.8% right. That was just a guess.
But without any sort of since if we agree that